This is Justin Daly, President and CEO of VRR Resources. It's January 7th, 2025, so Happy New Year, everyone. Just going to mention briefly that we will be in Vancouver, both Byron, Holbeck, and myself, for the MIF event presenting Friday afternoon. And we will also be at VRIC and Roundup wandering around. So if you'd like to get in touch with us or meet in person, please feel free to reach out and do so. Getting into today's news release, I spent most of the holiday break sick, but also looking through all of our data that we recently compiled from that chargeability survey that was completed in December, and going through the magnetics, the digim, all of our prospecting, and the drilling from last spring. And I felt it was time to sort of start from the ground up and go through all these layers and what we're targeting in the drill program we have planned for later this month. So we're showing here now a magnetic map. I'm overlaying the data from the 2023 survey that Byron had flown alongside the digim with government data below it. You can kind of see that greenish tinge on the lower left corner of the map. That is the evidence for that West Dyke target. Obviously, a lot more clear data coming through on this more modern survey, and we can see the dislocations and the offsets in this large east-west magnetic mafic intrusion feature. This has nickel, chrome, cobalt, a little bit of copper mineralization, very widespread. There's also a north-south west, and you can see in a bunch of different places there's these offsets where the trend is drastically changed, and I've drawn these black squiggly lines to highlight those. Those lines have been there since almost the very beginning. We'll take that data off now and layer on some of the digim. And the digim is a connection of different flight lines where we see relative conductors below 500 ohm meters. And this is now where we believe we're either seeing conductivity materials like clay or other things like that. And lo and behold, they line up with a lot of the structures we've already identified in the magnetics, as well as some northeasterly structures, which are also regionally very important. If you go west to Hammond Reef, everything is sitting on these northeast trending structures and northeast trending structures, and the splays in between them in a shear zone over there coming off the Quetico Fault. We are further east, same thing is happening here, and these conductors are lining up very well with those structures that we are targeting. You layer in the 15.5 millivolt chargeability anomalies, and the largest one, 1.2 kilometers long, covers the central zone. This is where we have that high-grade copper, silver, gold mineralization. It is where you see the molybdenite on fractures that we showed in the news release this morning. And there's also this trend going west-northwest from the bottom of the central zone target through to the West Dyke target. We saw an intrusion in hole 2 on the West Dyke target just before going into that mafic intrusion. And it's that conductivity plus a very small chargeability anomaly, which we can see just north. This actually lines up perfectly with a digim right there as well. What's happening here could be coming off of a much larger chargeability body that we see trending west-northwest, about 400 meters to the north of hole 2. North on east is anchored really by this 6-channel EM, and in the news release we explain that as 6 different time domains across the spectrum being read by those 1980s surveys, and we're seeing conductivity each and every one of those channels, which means we're seeing conductivity from a near surface environment all the way to the depth, the deepest part that system can read. So it's also lining up with one of those north-south structures. It's also offsetting this mafic dike over there, and there's a chargeability anomaly that seems to be bracketed by a bunch of different structures in that area. It's sort of forming this Y shape, which I find really intriguing. So putting this all together, we're seeing a lot of features using these same structures, using these same geological features, where this Archean intrusion-related system that's overlapping, I think, at this point anyways, the earlier mafic intrusion system. Same structures, same geological features, same combination of features in each one of these target areas, from West Dyke to Central Zone to the North Arm area. So we'll be using a series of short drill holes to 100, 150 to 200 meters in length, marching around the property, taking advantage of efficiencies and logistical efficiencies as well, to try and get as much drilling done as possible. We would like to drill as much as we can into any one of these targets, but to begin with, given the lack of surface exposure and the sheer amount of targets in this area, we feel that a great idea would be to see as much as we can across the property and then come back and focus in on a particular area where we see something of great interest. Finally, here are some of the sections so you can get a sense for the depth of these things. Almost every single one of them is roughly 100 meters in depth, and that could just be, there's maybe 5-10 meters of glacial till. But we do see that the chargeability is coming to surface on or near these structures, specifically at the central zone, about 300 meters east of where our high-grade outcrop is at the moment. That area is covered in glaciation, glacial till. But in that exact spot as well, there's this area where the contours are relatively low compared to the peaks on either side in that mafic intrusion, which tells me that there's potentially some demagnetization happening. So again, a lot of different features coalescing around the same structures where we hope to see some high-grade copper, silver, gold mineralization like this. And another note, just some plain, simple observations. The quartz carbonate veins that we saw in hole 2 look awfully similar to the quartz carbonate veins that we see 2.5 kilometers away at the North Arm Zone, coming up through one of those mafic intrusions. And so we're relatively pleased to see this continuity in the system, both geologically, structurally, and geophysically. So stay tuned for drilling. Happy New Year, everyone. Talk soon.